Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, or welcome to my channel if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be sitting down with you guys and sharing with you my experience at FIT and everything you need to know about the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. In today's video, I'm going to be sitting down with you guys and sharing with you my experience at FIT and everything you need to know about the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City. So the Fashion Institute of Technology is the #1 best fashion school in the world, as said on various websites such as Business Insider, Fashionista, and several others. In this video, I'm going to be going into full detail, and I felt the best way to go about this video is break it down into different categories and different subjects, just because if you haven't already seen it on my TikTok, I wasn't expecting for this to happen, but I posted a little fashion school check video and I got almost 400 questions on there, multiple DMs, and so I want to make sure that I'm able to cover all of your guys' questions in this video. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the application process, and then I'm going to be talking about the academics and then the classroom setting. Then I'm going to be talking about campus life. Fourth is going to be social life. Fifth will be dorming, and then lastly just a few extra tips and questions that don't quite fit into those categories. To start out, I just want to share a little bit background of myself, because I feel like if I don't, it might get a little confusing, and kind of just gives you a little bit of background to myself, because this video is going to be on my personal experience, because not everyone's experience is going to be the same, because everyone's backgrounds going into the school and their application will be different. But I want to try, but hopefully my experience will be able to help you in some sort of way, because I remember when I was applying to FIT, I definitely was looking at tons of YouTube videos, because I definitely felt as if the school itself did not go into full detail on some of the things that I wanted to know, that I couldn't either find on the website, or information I didn't fully get when I would go on a tour. And I also know that some people, they're not always as lucky to be able to go on a tour, because they're either international students or it's just too far away. But to start out, I am 19, I am a freshman at the Fashion Institute of Technology. I am currently in my second semester, which is about to end in the next 3 weeks, and will be an incoming sophomore. My major is AMC, which is also known as Advertising, Marketing, and Communications. Also, just some information on me from when I was in high school. In high school, I graduated with a 3.6 GPA and had an A to B average. And for me, I've always had a passion for fashion. It's most of my life I knew I wanted to go to college in New York City. At various points in my life, it was for different things, whether it was for theater, music, or now fashion. But I've always had a very creative mindset, and have just always knew I was going to be in New York City one way or another. Also, just so you know, I did go to high school in 2 different places. I went to high school in North Carolina for 3 years, and I'm going to talk mostly about my experience at that high school, because that's where I got a lot of my experience and developed my skills in fashion. But then I graduated from a high school in Indiana. I just wanted to give a little bit of background, just because, like I said before, I just want you to kind of know my perspective going into this, because this is all my personal experience. So now, going back to the application process and the getting in process, I first want to talk about how there are 2 different applications. So there is the design application, which falls under the design school at FIT, which has the majors such as fashion design, menswear, jewelry design, toy design, product development, I believe, is under that. And then there's a whole other list of other majors which you can definitely find on FIT's website. And then there is the business application, which is the application I applied to, which is for majors such as Advertising, Marketing, and Communications, also known as AMC, which is my major, and then also FBM, which is Fashion Business Management, which is another major under the Gildan Business School at FIT. I'm not going to be able to talk too in depth about the fashion design application, which I know a lot of people have questions about, just because that is not the application I applied to, and I do have friends that applied to it, but I don't feel like I have enough knowledge about it to help someone out who would be applying for the application. So I'm going to be linking down below a whole YouTube video on the application process that I think would be super helpful if that is the application you are applying to. But make sure to stick around in this video because there is definitely going to be a ton more information about general lifestyle at FIT that could totally help you out as well. But for the business application, that is again what I applied to. I had to submit an essay and a resume, and then I want to also mention FIT is test optional. And so this basically means it is not required for you to have to submit your SAT or ACT scores. I decided to submit mine because if you submit them, they act as if your placement test, which just basically just places you in your general education test or might omit you out of some of the ones that are required for you to take for your major. But if you decide not to submit it, it will not be put against you. They are not looking at your test scores for you to get in. So I was lucky enough where my test scores omitted me out of several courses, like general education classes such as a math class, I believe a science class. I think that was about it. It wasn't too much, but it was helpful so I could take more major-based classes. So if you feel like you had a strong test score, I would recommend submitting it, just because then you don't have to take that placement test when you get to school. So to start out with the essay, which is one of the main things I got so many questions about, and just how to go about writing it and how to approach it. The question I had to answer, I'm not sure if it has changed, but I've heard it's been the same for several years, was why I felt FIT was the best school for me, which I know is a very broad question and it's very difficult to answer, and I don't feel like I'm going to be able to give you all the answers on how to write a perfect essay that's going to guarantee you to get in, because like if there was like a little checklist that everyone could check off to get into every school, we would all be able to go to the school that we want to go to. But that is not the case, and so I'm just going to kind of share a summary of what I did personally. I kind of approached it from the sense of how that has developed my love for fashion, and kind of highlighted some of the things I'd done and the experiences I had had that further developed my love for fashion, which then led me to find FIT and decided and knew it was like the best place for me to be. There's also plenty of other videos talking about the FIT essay and how to approach it, but also again, everyone has to put their own spin on it, because if everyone writes the same essay, there's like no uniqueness to it and it doesn't really show who you are personally. So I just recommend overall just express who you are personally, because they just want to see who you are through your essay. Next, I submitted my resume. My resume is something I have been working on for a long time. I remember in high school, in my freshman year, we had like a whole class, we had several class periods where we literally were just working on our essay, and over time I just gradually was adding things to it. I had everything from starting my blog in like 8th grade to creating my YouTube channel, different classes I took, attending the Parsons Summer Intensive program, attending Fashion Week, and volunteering at Fashion Week, which I'm so lucky to have all of those experiences. So what I would recommend is just really add anything that you have done, whether it's an internship, a job that you feel like has given you experience, different things you have created in high school. Like for me, I even added, like I started a fashion club at my high school, which was through FITM, which is another very recognizable fashion school based in LA. Also added that I helped put together my high school's first ever fashion show, which brought together the whole student body and was able for us to show off the pieces that we made throughout the school year in our apparel classes, which was also through the fashion club. I also added that I helped run social media accounts for local businesses in my area. And so they really, I feel like by adding those things, it really helps show that you are passionate about what you have done, and that you're experienced, and that you're creative, which is what they're looking for. Because I don't know many people at FIT that are not that are not passionate. Like they just love what they do, and that's like that's why I love FIT so much, is because you're surrounded by so many creative people and so many forward thinkers and the people that are probably gonna be the future of this industry. Like, all my friends have some sort of experience coming into FIT, whether it was creating a fashion line for a school's fashion show, or modeling for local businesses, or showing that you took the initiative to take extra classes, gain more knowledge before college. Or even I have friends that just have been sewing since they were so little, and so like they just love what they do. And I feel like that kind of just represents the school as a whole. And so from my experience, I feel like that's like one of the main things that they're looking for, is just you just being passionate and just loving what you do. Because I know for me, when I walked onto the campus, I knew I belonged there. Like, when I toured it, I knew I belonged there, because I could see like how everyone was just so creative, and that's who I am, and I love being in an environment like that. So if that's who you are, you shouldn't have to worry. Like, everything will like work out. But I feel like that covers about everything for the application process and getting in, and also like my experience of the application process. The only other thing I will have to mention is it really does take forever for you to hear back. It is so annoying. I literally remember all of my friends were committing to colleges. They knew where they were going in like February because they did the early admission, but FIT does not offer early admission. Everyone hears in around April 1st, like early April. And it just feels like that day takes forever to come, but it was worth the wait, because I knew if I got into FIT, I was going to go to FIT. So second, I want to talk about the classes and also the academic setting, and just kind of like the work in general that you're going to have. So this is going to be more geared again towards business classes, because those are the kind of classes that I'm taking. First off, I want to share my situation was a bit weird than others. I actually applied as an FBM major, and then realized before starting school that I wanted to be an AMC major, just because I felt as if the classes aligned more with what I wanted to do, because AMC more focuses on marketing, communications, PR, editorial, social media, and those kind of things. It's very broad, whereas FBM has more of an emphasis on fashion, even though AMC, they'll still add in they'll still allow you to do projects on fashion, because they know that's what you're there for, they know that's what you're passionate about. But in FBM, you'll have styling classes. It's geared a lot towards merchandising, and especially buying. Like, you're gonna have a lot of merchandising math classes. From what I remember my friends saying, you can also find the curriculums on the FIT website. I will make sure to link that down below. Anything I mention on a website, I'm going to make sure all to link down below. But in these links, you can find like a full list of all the classes that you would be taking between your associates and your bachelor's. So of course, you're going to be taking gen eds just like any other college. Your math, your science, psychology, gym, art history, and those kind of classes. But depending on your major, it also could be, you might be taking less. Like, I know as fashion design majors, from what my friends have said, they don't have to take a gym class, they don't have to take a psychology class. Like, they want them to focus more on their work, like their design work, rather than outside classes. But the main thing that I love about FIT is you're starting and you're taking major-based classes starting your first day. And that was one of the main reasons I chose this school. One of the main reasons they do this is because they do split it between your associates and your bachelor's. So your first 2 years is your associates, and your last 2 years is your bachelor's. With this, you can either just go for 2 years, or you can go for 4 years. I'm going for all 4 years. You can also split it between 2 different majors. So for instance, you could do fashion design and then you could do AMC. That's one of the combinations I know, but not all majors work together, because you have to have certain courses that kind of correlate with going into your bachelor's if you do want to switch. So I'm also going to leave a link down below for a full chart that shows what majors correlate with each other, because they do offer that. But again, for me, I'm going to be doing AMC all 4 years. And I'm going to they also offer different minors. So for me, I'm going to be doing my minor in journalism, because I am very interested in editorial, and I'm already taking a lot of journalism based classes. So might as well get my minor in journalism. So some of the classes that I've been taking in the past 2 semesters for my major personally, I've taken fashion business practices, multimedia, which was like Word, PowerPoint, Excel. I took English comp, US world history, marketing, communications, advertising and promotion. What else have I taken? Intro to journalism, mass communications. I really have enjoyed like all of these classes, especially because we have such amazing professors. FIT has a requirement where all of the professors have to have at least 10 years of experience in the field that correlates with the class that they're teaching in order to teach these classes, which I find so amazing because I've had professors that have worked at recognizable publications such as Women's Wear Daily, the New York Times, the New York Post, Harper's Bazaar, and that have connections to Vogue, like crazy names that you hear about. I even had a professor that created the dollar menu at McDonald's. Like, how crazy is that? And he would share with us other projects that he was currently working on and different business plans. And like I had a professor that was an entrepreneur and took so many risks, but they ended up being successful, and like he included those tips from his businesses into his class. So for once, like I've never been someone that enjoyed learning. Like I would doze off in high school, I would want to skip class, I would always find an excuse not to go to school, where now like I look forward to going to class. I look forward to sitting and hearing a lecture from my professors. Yes, they are 3 hours long, more typically than not. Our classes are not usually split into 2 different days of the week. I do have one class that was like that over these past 2 semesters, but it's a very rare occasion that will happen. But by going to FIT, you're gonna learn about the thing that you love. Like you're gonna be like, for me, like I love business, like, and I love fashion, and so by combining that is like another thing I like so much about FIT, and I didn't find at other schools, is they do such a great job at combining fashion and business. Because at other schools I know it's either really just business or it's just fashion. Like there wasn't a big separation between the two. In these classes, you definitely are going to have homework. I mean, it's just like any other college course that you would take at another college. It's not like it's all super glamorous where you're able to have so much free time. Like you have to take time out for your work that you're going to give, because you are going to be in class, like I said, for 3 hours. You're going to have assignments outside of the classroom, which they usually give you typically about a week to do, sometimes 2, depending on if there's other things going on in the class. But I know for me personally, I started working retail my 2nd semester, and I thought because I had so much more free time in my 1st semester, because I only was focusing on school, I would be able to balance it. I ended up having to ask for less hours because it really made me realize how much work I did have. And because like I'm just gonna be completely honest here, it's really easy to get distracted in New York by getting caught up in the nightlife or getting caught up in like social events. It's really easy, but you are going to enjoy the work more likely than not, because again, like I said, the classes you are taking are going to be based off of the things that you really truly enjoy. So now for campus life. FIT is located on 27th Street between 7th and 8th Avenue, which in my opinion is an amazing location. It is right at the edge of Midtown. Like if you literally stand at the edge of 7th Avenue on 27th, you can see Times Square. Like you literally can see it from the corner of the school, which not my favorite place in the world, but it's cool. And you are right at the start of Chelsea. You're about a 10-minute walk to the Chelsea Market. You're 2-3 avenues away from the High Line. You're walking distance from Hudson Yards. You have like everything in your backyard. You even have the Garment District, which is walking distance from you, which I don't need as a business major, but for fashion design majors, it's so convenient. So for the layout of the school, because it's between both 7th and 8th Avenue, that's 1 block in the city. So on one side of the street, you have the classrooms and the cafeteria, and you have one of the museums, and then on the other side of the street, you're gonna have the library with the main FIT museum, which is where they have all their really famous and well-known exhibitions. And then next to it is going to be the 3 dorm halls, starting with alumni, then Nagler, and then co-ed, which is the one I I lived in. The whole street is blocked off with a gate during school hours. It is a very small campus, being only on one block, but as soon as you step off the campus, you're in New York City. So really, the city is your campus, and you're gonna hear that a bazillion times. You're gonna hear it on the first day of school, you're gonna hear it in all your classes, but it's true. And it's just honestly so cool. Like, I can hop on the one train, which is right next to school. I can head over to Central Park, or I can go all the way downtown to Soho and just hang out with my friends. Like, it's just, and you're literally in a city that people take whole ass vacations to go to, and you get to live there year round. Like, I never really once had a moment where I was sitting in my dorm room and saying, oh, I'm bored. You can't be bored. Like, there's so much for you to do. The city just provides you with so many opportunities. There's endless possibilities, people, experiences, places, food. But like, with there being so much going on, you have to be the person to be able to handle the kind of energy and the fast-paced environment that New York City is. For me, I love it because it pushes me to be the best person I can be, and it grows you so fast as a person. At first, when I toured the school, I will say I definitely didn't love how it looked, but I mean, the education that they give you kind of trumps it. Also, they have updated so many of the buildings. You stand outside, I mean, FIT is known for looking like a jail cell, they say that, but I promise you, there are windows. It is a beautiful campus. They change the flowers every season, and I know when I walk on the campus, I just feel like I'm at home. Like, I feel like, oh, I'm home. I feel so safe in a city that has a reputation of not always being the safest. And so that's another thing I want to talk about is safety. FIT has security guards on patrol 24/7. Like, literally on either side of the street there's probably 5 different security guards. They're in the dorm halls. I have to show my ID and swipe it at every door I walk into. FIT is rated #1 most safe and secured school in New York City in all 5 boroughs. Not just Manhattan, in all 5 boroughs, because we have a gate, and the security guards, even when it's on a holiday, they're there, and they're there to help you. Don't be afraid of them. They are so nice. They are so sweet, and I feel like that's just like what makes it feel so homey to me. Like, I was just like, I could just walk into my dorm, and like, I just felt like at place. And I know, like, a lot of times when you go to college, it's a really weird adjustment, and it's hard to make it feel like home, but it really did become home for me. Another reason why obviously the school can become home for you is because of your friends and the social life. So that's the next thing I want to talk about, is the social life. FIT, I definitely have heard, has a reputation of it being very hard to find friends, and there's people that literally drop out because they said the social life sucks. And I can understand where they're coming from in a way, just because the big key word that FIT uses, and I totally agree with, is it is a very unconventional way of learning and a very unconventional campus. And so when you decide to go to that college, you're deciding not to get the regular college experience. You're not going to have the sororities or the fraternities to meet like friends through that. You're not going to have football games. FIT does have sports. They have, I believe, volleyball, soccer, tennis, track, maybe fencing. I did see people fencing in the gym, but they're all D3, so they don't offer scholarships, but that is another way to meet friends. The biggest thing I want to say is you just gotta put yourself out there. Just reach out. And I honestly met some of my closest friends through social media, which I think is so crazy. That is how we're meeting people nowadays. But it was people that I simply just reached out to through Instagram, or they reached out to me, and it was just like us being like, oh, I love your Instagram feed, oh, I love your style. And honestly, to this day, those are some of my closest friends. Like, one of my friends posted a video about a concert she went to, and I like commented on it and I was like, oh, I love that artist, and she's like, oh, next time we're gonna have to go and see her together or go to a concert together. I need a new concert buddy. And now she's one of my closest friends at the school. Another thing is just getting involved. Like I was talking about sports, I'm not in sports, but the school also offers an insane amount of clubs. Like for instance, they have a merchandising society, they have an Indian culture like group of people, and they always do these really cool like Bollywood dances and have like food in the cafeteria for you to try. We have a whole magazine that has many recognizable awards and so many other clubs. There is a club fair at the beginning of each semester for you to find different clubs to get involved with, and I highly, highly, highly recommend for you to do that. I got involved in Blush magazine, which is FIT's magazine at the school, and I have a friend, she became the fashion director, and we all like met new people through there. Two of my closest friends I met by just being like, oh, I love your outfits, and we're now super close. So also just like kind of finding your niche in the school, whether it is like there's a whole like group of people that love thrifting and do like different thrift shows and everything like that. So there's so much going on in this school, so I just recommend getting involved because it's also a great thing to add to your resume. Like adding that you wrote an article for the fashion magazine at FIT, which is one, the #1 best fashion school in the world, 2, has many awards. That's amazing. Or that you helped style a photo shoot. Like there's so many different cool opportunities, and you get to meet great people through it. Oh, so overall I feel like it's very easy to meet people. It's just putting yourself out there, because everyone at FIT is so busy. They have so many other things on their own plates. Like it is so normal for someone to be balancing an internship, a part-time job, and classes. So just by doing that, I promise you're gonna make great friends. I have an amazing group of friends, and I'm so happy there. I'm honestly the happiest I've been in years, and I definitely, like, I don't want to attribute it to one thing, but it definitely has to be like just the environment at FIT, the people at FIT, and trust me, you think like people that are in fashion are standoffish and self-centered, but the community at FIT, everyone is so sweet. I remember at my first day, there was this super cool girl who was just taking film photos of the student body on their first day, and we had an amazing conversation, and that's just like normal, like meeting people in FIT, and I love it. I love the environment and everything, and it just makes me like a huge attribute for the school because I love it so much, which is something I'm saying on a repeated basis, but it's true. I've mentioned where I've lived multiple times, so I'm going to talk about dorming now. I lived in co-ed, which is the traditional style dorm hall on campus. It is on the main campus at FIT. I personally loved it. They had just updated it up to the, I believe, 9th floor, and I was lucky enough, I was on the 8th floor. There is 15 floors, so the floors above that are not updated, but they're nice and upkept. All the bathrooms are cleaned every single day, so you don't have to worry about that. Your room, in my opinion, is huge. My room was bigger than some of my friends at schools like Purdue and NC State, which are state schools, and my school was in New York City. But it also makes sense because you're getting what you pay for. You do pay a significant amount to live on campus. It's a great way to, again, meet people and to be involved in the school, because one of the major perks is like literally you can wake up 20 minutes before your class and get there right on time, because you literally just walk across the street and you're in your classroom. But there's also 2 other dorm halls on campus, which are these 3 dorm halls, I'm going to say, are only for first year students and first year transfer students. So let's say you're an upperclassman, you can no longer live in these 3 dorms. There is a separate dorm unit which is on campus housing, but it's a bit more off campus. It's on 31st between 9th and 10th, which is right by Penn Station, but it's still only like a 10-15 minute walk. It's not bad at all. I had friends that lived there and I would walk over there all the time. Again, the other 2 are Nagler Hall, which is another traditional style dorm, but this one does not have air conditioning, and sometimes in the winter the heat breaks. But I have heard they have updated a good amount of the halls in that dorm building. And then the last one is Alumni Hall, which is the dorm building that everyone and their mothers wants to live in. It is the apartment style dorm room. So this dorm style, basically when you walk in, you have a kitchen and a dining area, and then you have 2 bedrooms where you would share it with another person. And that's another question I got, is if it is hard to get an apartment style. It is very difficult. I wanted apartment style. Did I get an apartment style? No. I was very happy with my living situation, and I got very lucky that I had a very nice and updated room. But everyone wants to live in Alumni, and when you go to sign up for your dorms, you get a time slot. So if you don't get an early enough time slot, you probably won't get an apartment style. Random, every single year, I got a pretty early time slot. Like, I think it was only an hour or 2 after dorming applications opened, and we did not get an apartment style. But my friends that I was going to get an apartment style was just 4 floors down from me, so that was really nice as well. So overall, I had a really good experience living in the dorms, just because I really liked how it was very convenient, and it also really gets you accumulated to the school and living in New York City, because one, again, like the safety, you have all these security guards, you're right by the 1 train, which can take you about anywhere, and it's a great way to learn how to take the trains. For me, I already knew how to work the train system, but a lot of people coming in do not. You also get a meal plan when you sign up for a dorm, which is nice and very handy to have for if you want to save money. I will say one of the downsides is, so over winter break, at FIT you have about a 6-week winter break, and if you are living in the dorms, you get kicked out. There's no way you're allowed to stay there. Everyone goes home from the campus, and so unless you have another place for you to stay in New York City, you're back home. So if you like being home, that's great. For me, I don't mind it, but it was a very long period of time to be home. So I would just say it kind of depends on your situation, but in your freshman year, I highly recommend it, because it's, again, a great way to make friends and a great way to get adjusted to, one, the New York City lifestyle, and just going to FIT in general. So I feel like that covers about everything, but I still had a few more tips and questions that I got that I didn't fully feel like fit into any of those categories, so I'm going to go over those really quickly. The first one is how expensive it is. It is a state school. I'm not going to share numbers. You can easily look that up. It changes every single year, just, you know, like any other college, but it does go up a certain amount between your associates and your bachelor's. And another question was, like, based off of how expensive it is. It's just generally how expensive it is to live in New York City. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty self-explanatory question. New York City is one of the most expensive places to live in the US and in the world. So it's definitely expensive, but I would definitely recommend learning to budget your money, because it is easy to blow your money. You will have a meal plan, but it's very repetitive. The food is okay, but it doesn't change very often, so you're gonna want to go out. But I recommend just finding a few things that you like and going out only once a week, maybe twice, for like a fast food kind of sort of meal. So like treating yourself almost, because for me, I blew through over half of my money in the first semester and had to come home and work and make more money because my parents don't give me spending money. And that's just me personally. So I would just say budget your money and you'll be great, because there's so many free things you can do in the city, and there's so many different websites that talk about it. There's TikToks that talk about it. It's everywhere. There's so many cool things to do just walking around and everything. But, you know, being a fashion student, you also like to go shopping, and you're in the shopping capital of the world, so that's also pretty easy to blow money on. So just, you know, watch your money. Another one is the percentage of students getting a job outside of college. I don't know the exact number, but because FIT is a very recognizable name, just adding it to your resume just does so much for you. Obviously you need to put the work in, you need to get experiences, you should do internships, but just by having that on your resume helps so much. Like, I've had so many opportunities already, only being a freshman, just for being an FIT student, because everyone knows that is the place to be. FIT also offers so many different connections for you to meet and new people and to build your network, such as they have an amazing career services which helps you get connected to internships. They also have career fairs for any of the students, but specifically the seniors coming out of college, and they have so many brands that you have heard of, such as like Dior, Marc Jacobs, what were some of the other ones I heard were there? ColourPop Cosmetics. I should believe Chanel was there one year. Harper's Bazaar. They're all there, and they're looking for new talent because that's what FIT has to offer. So like, you need to put in the work. I recommend highly doing internships because that will also give you more opportunities coming outside of college to get a job. But by no means does like FIT not help you out at all. That's what they're there for. They're there to help you, and I've definitely seen that a lot, especially through my friends that have already had internships. I haven't had one yet, but my roommate, she did an internship in her second semester, and the career services, she said, was super helpful and helped her figure out how to get credit for it and all the different details around that. And then lastly, just overall, why I love FIT and why I chose it. I feel like I definitely talked about that a lot throughout the video, and just how I just felt like it was the best fit for me. But I just really love how you're surrounded by so many creative people, and like I said, they are the next generation of this industry. And also how for my major I got a mix between both fashion and business, and I just loved how they emphasize on how the city is your campus and they want you to get experience, they want to help you, and obviously it's the #1 best fashion school in the world. So why would you not want to go there if you get in and you want to go into the fashion industry? But that's all for today's video. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope I answered your questions, because the people that were DMing me, I directed them toward this video. But if you have any more questions, please do not hesitate to leave a comment down below. Also, feel free to DM me on my Instagram, which will be linked down below, or any of my other social medias. And also, don't forget to subscribe. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a wonderful and beautiful day or night or whenever you're watching this. And I will see you very soon.